You know, Doctor Who is an interesting conversation right now because nobody is talking about it in the sense of being a fan anymore. You know, I remember Doctor Who being something that a lot of people spoke about because they were actually interested in seeing what was going to happen next. You know, it was always that element of mystery that's something I never quite understood because, again, I'm not really a Doctor Who fan, never really was. But when I saw people talking about it and I knew people who were Who fans, you know, they were very excited to talk about the next Doctor Who and how it was going to happen and whatnot, right? Well, apparently a lot of the discourse now doesn't really have to do about fandom and has everything to do about polarizing opinions where people are just honestly fed up. Everybody's fed up with the whole pandering, virtue signaling and whatnot, especially what started with the Christmas special and now we're here. Well, apparently Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies is unfazed by the criticisms of his latest lore changes and says if things are polarizing, then I think we're in a healthy position. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I understand that, you know, not every fan is going to be happy with every single decision you make. I get that, right? Like, that's totally normal and totally fine. The problem is that when you are actively trying to cause division, instead of just division happening by chance because maybe you made a decision that not everybody agreed with, when you're going out of your way to try to cause divide, that's when I start to have a problem with it. And I think that's when a lot of people start having problems with it because it's very clear that Russell T Davies has made it upon himself with Ncuti Gatwa to decide to make a new Doctor Who that is going to piss off a lot of people. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So again, good old Ncuti Gatwa, his Doctor Who isn't doing very well. Let's just put it like that, right? It's lost about 2 million viewers, give or take, about 2 million viewers since Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who. And Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who was the last one that was really bad. So 4.5 million viewers was deemed extremely bad compared to David Tennant's, which was normally get 7 to 10 million. And now we're at a situation where good old Ncuti Gatwa is half or almost half of what Jodie Whittaker was. It is god awful just how bad Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who is performing, but let's get into it. It says between introducing the concept of bi-generation, again, whatever, revealing that the issue of the human Time Lord Metacrisis energies could be solved simply by being a woman, and his confirming that the concept of the timeless child is still very much in play. Russell T Davies' latest run in charge of Doctor Who has already seen him make a number of controversial changes to the series' long-established canon, and while fans may not be too happy with his choices, the showrunner is standing by each and every one of them. Now, there is a very small bit of respect that I can give someone who is a creative standing by his decisions no matter what. But what I will say is that a lot of good creatives, whether or not you're a director or whatever, is going to take the input of the people that you're trying to sell to at some point in time. Maybe you're not getting it now, right? Like maybe, you know, you can't really change it now because Ncuti Gatwa's already been filmed, whatever the case may be, but perhaps on the next one you can learn. But when it comes to Russell T Davies, I don't think that's the case. I think Russell T Davies is going to double down simply because he feels like he has to. He feels like he's fighting some just cause or whatever the case may be. I really don't know. It says Davies made it clear that his commitment to his creative vision, for better or worse, during a May 2024 interview given to The Verge's Charles Poulan Moore in promotion of the British sci-fi show's then upcoming Series 14 premiere, met with the opening inquiry from his host. What about stepping into this new era of Doctor Who and taking really big steps or swings felt risky to you? Davies asserted, it never feels risky to me, to be honest. I think that's ridiculous. If you feel like if you're doing something that doesn't feel necessarily risky, then you're probably not trying to, implement anything that's worthwhile. I really don't. And in this scenario, I feel like this is a level of risk that you didn't have to take, right? You didn't have to go down the leftist haven of identity politics. You didn't have to do that. When you do that, you are automatically going down a divide. There is going to divide your fan base. And your fan base was already dwindling as it is. The numbers don't lie. And now look what you did. You told people if you don't like it, don't watch it. You told people, oh, if you don't like it, go touch grass. Stop being racist, whatever the case may be. You completely dismiss people's arguments over the entire situation, not even just about Ncuti Gatwa, but over the entire lore regarding Doctor Who and what you changed. You told him to go touch grass, and now look at you. You're 2 million plus viewers short from your last worst number. He says, I'm the man who created Queer as Folk in 1999. I live off risk, said the returning showrunner. I love it. I think we could be unfair to fans sometimes when we say the viewers are polarized because there's nothing fans love more than a good debate. Just go and talk to a bunch of football fans. Well, that's true. No, like fans, nerddom loves to debate. That is absolutely true, and I will give him that. There are no football fans saying our team is perfect, we're really happy, and we got nothing to say. They're all arguing all the time, and that's just what fandom is. If things are polarizing, I think we're in a healthy position, but I also think we sometimes overstate the importance of discourse on Twitter. Well, see, here's the thing. You can't say that and then have half the numbers that you had at your last worst, right? If you were, let's say, opening up at 4 to 5 million viewers like you did with Jodie Whittaker, your last terrible Doctor Who. If you were opening with the same numbers, you can at least say, okay, the discourse on Twitter was not real. Everybody's still watching the show who we had before. Now we just got to maintain this audience and try to grow it, right? Like you would be able to say that with a straight face. No pun intended. The problem is that you can't say that, right? You can't say, oh, we overstate the importance of discourse on Twitter. But then if you look at it, you're 2 million viewers short. 2 million. Like, that's not a light amount. You literally cut your viewership in half. So you can't say the discourse on Twitter is overstated because it's perfectly stated. It is very much showing exactly how upset people were. And instead of trying to pay attention and maybe take in some criticism, you decided to tell people to go touch grass. That's the big problem. You can't make this statement in the position that you are in. But then again, I guess technically, he made this decision. He made this statement before the show came out, right? He was making it at the premiere, so he didn't see the viewership numbers yet. So I would wonder if he believes that the discourse on Twitter is overstated now that he's realized that he's lost 2 million plus viewers for Doctor Who. I really wonder. Now, again, do you think somebody like Russell T Davies is not going to triple down at this point? Of course he will. But internally, I would almost guarantee that he realizes that he made a huge mistake, but doesn't care because as long as the message gets out there, that's all that's important. Turning his attentions to his latest changes to the series canon, Davies then continued, that said, I'm a fan, and I'm not dismissing fan opinions at all. You are. You are. You literally are. You and Ncuti Gatwa are literally dismissing fan opinions. But I think that as long as I personally can find good emotional path through the story, it's in a good place. I'm not quite sure where I am when I'm talking about the history of the legend of the timeless child, he affirmed. That actually doesn't mean much to me. But if you say to me the Doctor is a foundling, an orphan who doesn't know who his parents are, that sells it to me. Suddenly, I can listen to that man and empathize with him. That's when you know you're in a really rich emotional territory. And I think that's where Doctor Who is right now. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see what happens as the show continues. The viewership numbers are not there. It is doing terribly compared to its previous iterations. And even when you stack it up to its previous worst, it is half of what that number used to be. Plain and simple, Ncuti Gatwa will go down in history as the absolute worst Doctor Who that has ever happened by far. He will be the worst Doctor. His legacy will be stained within the TV show. And the only thing that he's going to fall back on is the fact that he gets railed 24/7. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.